Hey, this is James, the XD Man, and today we're going to be talking about the Springfield 2020 22 long rifle. Try saying that fast 3 times. I bet you can't. But specifically on this quick tech tip, we're going to be talking about droopy bolt syndrome and what it means and how to fix it. All right, getting down here low into the action. To remove our bolt from the Springfield Armory 2020 22 long rifle is a relatively simple process. All we got to do is push our bolt up the bolt handle, slide it to the rear, and if we look to the back of the receiver, there's a button right here. Hit that button and it comes right on out. To install it, first thing we need to do is check our bolt and make sure that our bolt handle is on the same plane as the flat on the front or the back. To reinstall it, we're going to insert it into the back of the receiver, and notice that there's a cutout on the back of the stock, so it makes it real simple to push it in, and without hardly any effort, it slides right into place and it's locked. Now let's show you what happens when we have the droopy bolt syndrome. With the bolt not even, and it's angled down about a 45-degree angle, I would say, we go to slide it into the receiver, and then the bolt handle ends up hitting, see how it's rotating up? It hits our stock. So to fix that, I'm going to show you 3 different ways to fix that and get it working so you can get this gun back together and go out and shoot. So let's take a look at the bolt and how to identify if everything is correct and in alignment. If we look at the face of the bolt, notice how there's a natural line, and then the back of the bolt, there's kind of a plane right here. Well, when the bolt handle is in the proper position, notice it's going in line with everything and the natural lines of the bolt. The handle and the bolt are in the same plane, and that means that that bolt could slide right in and then lock into place. Well, every once in a while you'll get what I call the droopy bolt syndrome, and the bolt handle is loose in there. So when you try to go shove it into the receiver, this bolt handle ends up running into the stock and won't go in. If we focus back here to the sear lug, this little rectangle piece right there, you'll notice that there's an incline, and then right above my fingertip there is a little notch. So we have to get this sear lug up here into that notch. And we could do that with one of 3 different ways. So the first way to get that sear up into that notch is just by simply grasping the bolt either here, or you could grab it there, either way. But to make it easier for you, you at home to see, I'm just going to grab the bolt body, and then I'm going to take that bolt handle and twist it. Now let's go back and forth so you can see. Now, one thing that I want to tell you is that when this gun was brand new, it was really hard for me to move that bolt and just turn it just by holding it. So when the gun is brand new, everything is super tight, and it did not want to just move over like it does now. I have a couple hundred rounds through this gun now, and everything's loosened up, so I could just grasp it and move it back and forth. But when the gun was new, it did not want to do that. Plus, if my arthritis was acting up, I may not have that hand strength to be able to hold it, to be able to move that bolt handle over where it needs to be. So if you do have hand issues like arthritis or trigger finger or something like that you can't grasp onto and hold tight items, or if the gun is brand new and it just doesn't want to cooperate with you, I'm going to show you 2 other methods that you don't have to use as much hand strength. Alright, so we have our bolts back into the droopy bolt position, and it will not go into the receiver if we try to insert it this way. So we need to move that lug up here to that top of that incline in that little divot right there. And if you have hand issues, hand strength issues, this is one of the best tips I could show you. Just a simple piece of zip tie. If you loop it about 1 inch, 1.5 inches in diameter, you can actually slip it over the bolt and capture the front of the lug just like that. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to turn it around so I can show you guys what I'm doing. So now I'm just going to take my finger, and this angle that's right here, I'm going to use that to my advantage. See how I've got it hooked? Look at that. With one hand, I was able to pull that striker back. And then, now it's correctly at the top of the apex where it needs to be in that little divot to put in there. And then the other cool thing is, since the back of the shroud is metal and the zip tie is plastic, you don't scratch anything up. Hardly any effort to do it, and you don't damage anything. Alright, this is the third method that I recommend how to move that sear lug up onto the apex, up to where it needs to be, so you don't have that droopy bolt syndrome. This one, if you're an old-timer and have been around Remington 700s especially, or bolt action guns in general, they call that the shoelace trick. This is kind of modified. You can take a shoelace or some 550 cord that I have anchored that's not going anywhere, and basically all we're going to do is take that 550 cord or that shoelace, and then check this out. We're just going to hold it and pull. And then notice I'm using my whole hand on the back of that shroud. So if I had hand issues and couldn't grasp my fingers around it, I'm using actually the palm of my hand, and then now we're right where we need to be to get it to work. So that's really awesome, especially with those people that have hand issues. That's a trick that really helps. So you could anchor that piece of 550 cord or shoestring on a workbench so you don't have to bend down or anything like that. I've seen videos where people literally use their shoelace on their shoes to do the same thing, but I'm too fat to be bending down that much. So I'll just anchor it on the top of my workbench and then pull it back and get it where it needs to be. Alright, now that I've showed you 3 different ways of how to fix your droopy bolt handle syndrome, if you liked what you saw and it was really easy and I saved you a phone call to Springfield Armory's customer service, think about subscribing to the channel and also liking all of our different social medias at The Real XD Man. And I appreciate everybody watching. Remember, droopy bolt handles, no good.